Guys, Amy Star Allen here, and this is video 2 of our series for documenting our journey of starting a company from scratch. And in today's video, as promised, I'm going to talk about what led up to taking the leap, basically out of my comfort zone and into, and not just me, Linda too, out of our comfort zones and into the process of starting a company from scratch. So basically, I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, but for the last few years, my comfort zone, and I said this in the last video, has been just doing a lot of client work. So working for different clients behind the scenes, helping them with their marketing, with their graphics, web design, webinars, like all that kind of stuff, and just kind of being behind the scenes and doing that kind of stuff, even product creation, all that stuff. And it's a skill that I have. It's something that I actually love to do. And however, before I started doing the client work, I used to create my own programs, and I stopped doing that a while ago. I decided to start doing client work for a change. And I really enjoyed it for a while, several years. And I knew that there was stuff inside of me that wanted to come out. Like I've known for a while, and you might have this feeling as well. Like there's something that I want to share. There's something I want to leave behind for the world that's from me. That's not the content of one of my clients, but that's my content and my writing and my videos and my voice and my passion. And I thought that I could do the client work and kind of do that on the side of that. But that wasn't the reality, because I was just too busy doing this stuff for my clients. So by the end of the day, or, by the time I had any downtime from my client work, I didn't have any bandwidth left to be creative for myself. And so if you've been following me for a while, you know that I've had a website for many years, but there was this big gap where I just wasn't posting anymore, and there wasn't a lot going on there. And that's just because, it's like the mechanic who doesn't have time to fix his own car. It was like that. It's like I'm so busy helping other people with their voice and their business that I didn't have time to spend on my own. And it really started to eat away at me. And I started to say this in the last video, and I don't think I finished the whole conversation, but when my dad would come up for breakfast and in the mornings, sometimes I would be in tears because I was so unfulfilled, and like I knew that my voice was squelched. Like there was things I wanted to do with my life that I didn't have time to do, and courses that I wanted to teach, and programs that I wanted to create, and retreats that I wanted to host, and all this stuff, but I didn't have the time or the energy to do it. And I was just feeling really sad about it. And at the same time, I wasn't really enjoying the work that I was doing anymore. There was some conflict with, some stuff, behind the scenes stuff that was just making me uncomfortable. And I just wasn't fulfilled, basically, at all. And I remember my dad telling me multiple times, you're the only one that's keeping yourself here. Like you can decide at any time to take that leap. And I knew that, but sometimes it helps to hear it from somebody else. And so anyway, it was eating away at me. And maybe it took my dad passing away. My dad passed away last year in April. And I really feel him by my side every day since then. And, and I've heard a lot of stories too about people who have lost somebody close to them, a parent typically, who from the other side is able to really help in a different way. So I don't know if it was my dad, if he was kind of orchestrating things behind the scenes in any way or not. But I just got to the point where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I turned 50 last year, I just turned 51 about a week ago. And I was like, like I don't want to spend the rest of my life building other people's dreams and promoting other people's content, in their voice and not using my own voice. And I knew that it wasn't satisfying for me anymore. Not to mention, there was this mission. Linda and I had worked together for one of my clients. She was also, working for them, and that's how we met and got to know each other. And we had some really good ideas together, and we actually created a program for that client, and it was very successful and that kind of thing. But we weren't allowed to, like, we had pitched some things to them, some ideas that we had that were shot down, and we weren't allowed to, like, really be self-expressed at all. We were asked to just stay behind the scenes, which is fine. That's what we were getting paid to do. But I knew in my heart, and she knew in her heart, that we didn't want to be behind the scenes anymore. Like, we both have things that we're passionate about that we want to share with the world, and we can't do that from behind the scenes of somebody else's company. It was a big decision. It was very, very scary because we both were used to, getting paid a certain amount every month from that work. And we knew that if we stopped, that the income would stop as well. And, that's a scary thing to do. But once we started really talking about it seriously, and once we started, like, she flew out here and we just kind of masterminded for the weekend, and all this stuff started to happen. Like, even more, like, stuff started to happen, like, with our client that basically, long story short, made our decision very easy. Like, things became very clear that it was at this point, neither one of us was gonna thrive anymore doing that work. And it was really, to me, it felt like the universe saying, it's time, there's no question, it's time for you to take this step. Linda actually took the step before me, and I was so envious because I would see her, like, waking up in the morning with the freedom to be creative in the way that she knew she came here to do. And I didn't have that freedom yet because I still had a lot of things on my plate that I was doing that weren't for our company. And I wasn't really planning on giving my notice as soon as I ended up giving it. But I just got to the point where, there was, like I said, there was, like, divine intervention, which was like one sign after another saying, get out, get out, get out. It's time, it's time, it's time. So finally, I just threw my hat over the fence. I'm like, I just have to trust this. And what I know from my past and from my experiences is that anytime I get any type of guidance like that and I don't listen to it, like, a lot of times, and you might be able to relate to this, we get, like, we get a sign, or we hear a voice, or we get we feel, like, guided to do something. And then there's another voice, it's probably our ego, saying, that's crazy, that's a crazy idea, you shouldn't do that. I had the same experience when I had this calling to move across the country from Colorado to North Carolina. Like, it seemed crazy, people thought I was crazy, but I'm like, for some reason I'm supposed to make this move. I knew it. I had the same thing happen. I was getting called to go to New Zealand for 6 months, and that kind of thing. Like, sometimes it doesn't make sense, but what I know is if I get a calling like that and I don't answer the calling, I don't listen to the advice, which is basically my higher self or God or the universe, I don't know. If I don't actually do what I'm being called to do, there's always 100% of the time suffering involved. And have you ever heard the saying that the universe will give you a tap on the shoulder, and if you don't respond, after a while, you'll get hit over the head with a 2x4? Well, I was getting hit over the head with a 2x4 at this point. So was Linda. And it just became really clear, like, it's time for us to do this. And so anyway, So I gave my notice, and then I was leaving to go on a cruise with my daughter, and I was taking one of my daughter's friends, and we were going to be gone for a week with like little to no internet because we were going to be out in the middle of the ocean. So Linda and I like dove in. We started, the ball rolling, and I'll get into more of the logistical stuff about what we did first and all of that. But I was going to be unplugged for an entire week, which is one of the reasons why I thought giving my notice now is a good thing to do. I gave my notice like a month before that, knowing like I don't want to be on a cruise ship needing to be on, getting all these messages and stuff about stuff that needs to be technical stuff that I need to do for clients and stuff like that. So I felt like that timing was also really good for me to, give my notice and be free from that. And Linda is like the best business partner in the world. She knew I was going on a cruise, and she wasn't like, you need to be available because we had stuff going on. She basically said, let's get all this stuff done before you leave so that you can unplug while you're on the cruise. That's Linda. That's why working with Linda is awesome. So we were really scrambling to get all this stuff done. We were actually launching a course, and we had to, I was doing she was creating the content, I was doing the tech behind the scenes and all this stuff. And there was stuff that was going to happen like the last day of my cruise that I needed, like everything needed to be in place in order for me not to have to be like dealing with it while I was traveling. And so we got that all done, and we were Voxering. We have a Voxer app on our phone, and we were Voxering while I was driving. I drove from North Carolina to Fort Lauderdale, Florida with my daughter and her friend. And they were kind of chuckling as I was Voxering back and forth with Linda a lot from the road. And then when I got off the ship, same thing, Voxering back and forth, But during the week of my cruise, I was able to completely unplug and kind of shift gears and know like this is the beginning of a new chapter in my life. As scary as it was and is, it felt really good to just know that one door closed and another one has opened. And I'm not suggesting that everybody needs to give their notice at whatever they're doing before they start something else. That's not what I'm suggesting at all. This isn't the way to do it for everybody. It certainly is not. Because you don't want to operate from a place of scarcity. And if quitting your job is going to cause you to come from a place of desperation or scarcity, then it's definitely not a good idea. But sometimes in order to have, like for me, I knew in order to have the bandwidth to take on the level of the mission that Linda and I were creating, I needed to clear my plate. I needed to make space to be able to be full on and focused on what we're up to here. So I just knew that needed to happen. And the other thing that was actually interesting and cool, and Linda knows all about this as well, was my 11-year-old daughter throughout the whole process while I was trying to figure out, should I stay or should I go? Like, should I keep the income coming in from the client work while I start this company and all of that? My 11-year-old daughter kept telling me to quit. She's like, you need to quit. Because she would see me in tears. She would see me so disempowered and so, unappreciated and so conflicted on a daily basis that she said, you need to quit. And I was like, well, do you know what that means? Do you know that like, if our company, if things don't happen right away with our company, then it could mean that you can't do gymnastics right now, or, it might change our lifestyle a little bit. If, I'm letting go, do you realize that I'd be letting go of one of my biggest streams of income? And she did not care. She was like, you need to quit. She did not like seeing me feeling like that. She could tell. And so to me, that was like another voice of reason or a sign from God or whatever when I have my 11-year-old daughter saying on a daily basis, Mom, you need to quit. Mom, you need to quit. So anyway, that's kind of what led up to the beginning of And Then She Shines. And, even the naming of this company comes from all of the stuff that led up to this. Because we knew that we could lead by example and show women that in the face of anything, you have the choice to shine. You have the opportunity to rise up and move past anything that comes your way, and regardless of what it is. And also, leading up to the start of this company, like I said, I lost my dad, and my dad lived with me. I was very close with him. That was very difficult, and I had, I'm the executor of his estate, and so we're still in probate, and it's been this long, drawn out process. And I've kind of gotten knocked down by a lot of different things in my life, and I won't go into the details of all of those, but there's been a lot of circumstantial challenges in my life over the course of the year. And I'm like, if I can pick myself up and move past those and be empowered and start a company to empower women in the face of all of that stuff, and in the face of, the challenges that came with my, the people that I was working for and all the different stuff, then I'm living proof that anybody can do this. And that's kind of how we named our company, because we want to help women to shine in the face of obstacles and struggles. And it became such a driving force for me because I was so stressed out and sad and scared and had all these emotions going on. But when I thought about, and then she shines, it's like, that's a choice that I get to make. I get to make a choice to shine anyway in the face of all of that. I get to lead by example for my children and show them what's possible when you're not empowered in your life, how you get to choose what needs to happen for you to feel differently. And I get to be an example for all of the women that are going to come into our circle and into our community to show what's possible. And this is the kind of stuff that we go into more depth we have a membership community, and I'll put a link to that below this video. But we have a membership community where we focus on one topic every month, and we go really, really, really deep. And as a matter of fact, we have one of our monthly topics coming up is called Leap in the Nutshell up here. And it's about taking risks in your life. And this is an example of that. And we'll dive deeper into that topic for an entire month to help the women in our community to be able to get the courage to take some of the risks, to do some of the things that they're really called to do. So we definitely dive a lot deeper into this in there. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of the background of, how we got here, how the timing all happened, how we named our company, and kind of what And Then She Shines is all about. So I've gone on long enough for this video, and I hope this has been helpful in some way for you. And like I said, we're going to be documenting this journey as it unfolds. And before we start, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff like real-time behind the scenes stuff. But right now I'm just creating a series of videos to kind of get you caught up to where we came from to get to this point. Because a lot has happened in a short amount of time. I mean, we literally just came on the scene 2 months ago, and so much has happened in the last 2 months. So in any case, I just want to encourage you to have the courage to follow your heart. And in the coming videos, we'll go into more of the process that happened once Linda and I took the leap and started this company. So I love you, and leave me a comment. Make sure you subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell to make sure that you get notified every time we post another video, because we're going to be posting videos about the journey on a regular basis, as well as our other content, and you're not going to want to miss out on that. So make sure you subscribe and click on that notification bell, and we love you.